Hi everyone, I'm Jo and welcome, or perhaps it's welcome back to another demo. Today I am going to show you how to make a pretty dainty little bracelet. It's using another new shape that is new to me. I have not used these very often before. In fact, this is my first little shipment of these beads that came in this week. And it's a bead called a WibeDuo, W-I-B for Bobby, E, duo. And the little bracelet we're going to make is this one. I've called it Waltzing with WibeDuos, and you'll see why when we look at them in a little bit more detail later on. So it's a WibeDuo. The duo tells you that the WibeDuo is that central bead, the silver one that you can see, the biggest bead. And the duo part tells you that it is a double drilled bead. So I've used WibeDuos, I have used Demi rounds, which are a Toho make, and I've used them in a size 8, and I've used a size 8 regular round seed bead as well. So let's get started. Before we get underway, let's just have a look at these new to me shaped beads, the WibeDuos. So this is what they look like. They've got 4 points and then these sort of concave curves on each of the sides. They are double drilled, so if I pop the needle through there, you can see there's a hole through that top half and another hole through that lower half. You can only pass your needle through them in one direction. You can't go through the 2 holes in the opposite direction, so it would be that way. They are slightly domed on the top surface, and underneath they are flat, so they definitely have a right and a wrong side depending on which way you want to use them. And the other beads, these are silver aluminium, by the way, of the WibeDuos. I've got galvanized silver size 8 seed beads, and these demi rounds in a size 8. The color, if you want to know, is called metallic cosmos. So they're the same size as a size 8 seed bead diameter wise, but they're only half the width there. So those are the beads that we're going to be using to make our lovely little Waltzing with WibeDuos bracelet. Now the name might seem quite random, but I'm going to show you why I've called it, because it's like we're doing a little dance around the WibeDuo. So this is a very amateurish drawing of a WibeDuo, and these little points here are the drill holes. So you've got 1 hole across the top half and 1 across the bottom. And I chose it Waltzing with WibeDuos because it's all W's for a start, but also because I've said we're going to be dancing around this WibeDuo. So if our starting point is here with our needle, we're going to come in through this top hole here, and we're going to add some of our Toho Demi rounds there. That will be our first step. And then we will come back through this top hole and we will add in more demi rounds around this side, and that will be our second step. So our needle will be exiting this side. We'll be adding in more demi rounds around this side, and this is our third step. And then we'll be coming this way again for our 4th step. So it is like doing a little waltz around the WibeDuos. And while we're here, I'm just going to explain. On the north and south side, so top and bottom, we're going to be adding in 4 demi rounds. And east and west, or on the sides, we're going to be adding in 6 demi rounds. So 4 for the top and bottom, and 6 around the sides. So we're going to get going, and I've added about 2 meters of my crystal fire line, the 6 pound in weight, onto a size 10 beading needle, and I have passed the needle through that top hole of my WibeDuo, ensuring that I've got the domed surface facing up to me. And we're going to start our little dance around this WibeDuo. I don't have a stopper bead on, but I'm going to move that down towards the tail end of my thread. Leave yourself about 20 centimeters of a tail, because you can then use that tail to add on one end of your clasp. So we're going to start, and if you remember from my little diagram before, our first step around the WibeDuo is going to be around that top point. and because it's a top point, we're going to be only picking up 4 of our demi rounds, and we're going to pass the needle back through that top hole of the WibeDuo. And there I have my first 4. Now don't worry about gaps, because we've still got to add in the silver 8 O's towards the end to make it all quite snug, a snug fit around the WibeDuo. Now our second step is coming around the side of the WibeDuo. So on the sides we pick up 6, 3, 4, 5, 6 of our demi rounds, and we're going to pass through that lower hole. So I've got a top and a side done. I'm now going to come round the third step, which is around the base of my WibeDuo. So again, I'm only picking up 4 of my demi rounds, and I'm coming through. And we've got one more side to do. Now on this first one, it's a little different to the rest of it, so bear with me. This first one, we've got a little slightly different step. We need 6 demi rounds to come around the side here, but I'm also going to fill in my first 8 O. So I'm going to pick up 3 demi rounds, 1 8, and 3 demi rounds again. And I'm going to pass the needle back through that top point. Right, so I've got my first little silver point in place there, and I've got 3 more that I need to do: top, right hand side, and lower edge. And we're going to follow the same steps that we did when we were adding in the demi rounds. So the silver bead that's going to go in the top here has to be in the middle of the 4 demi rounds that we placed around the top. So I'm going to pass the needle through 2 of my demi rounds, pick up a silver 8 and pass the needle through the 2 demi rounds on the other side. That gives me my point at the top, and I need to come back through that top hole. Now I'm trying not to get my hands in the way so that you can see what I'm doing, but I need to turn it slightly. I'm not going through any of the demi rounds, but through the top hole of the WibeDuo. And that has got my top 8 in place. Now I'm coming round to this right hand side here. Remember, we picked up 6 demi duos for the side, so to be in the middle I need to come through 3 of them. Make sure that you are going through all the beads so that your thread is as invisible as possible. So through 3, all the time pulling your threads through so that you're quite tight with your tension. Pick up another silver 8, and I'm going to come through the 3 demi rounds on the other side and through that lower hole. Think back to that diagram where I was doing the steps of waltzing around the WibeDuo, and I'm following exactly the same pattern. You can hit rewind if you need to remind yourself. So I've now got 3 in place. I need to just add 1 more on the base here, so I'm coming through 2 at the bottom, 2 of my demi rounds, and I'm going to pick up another silver 8 O. And because to continue with my bracelet I need to be exiting this 8 O on the side, I'm going to pass my needle up through all 5 of those demi rounds and out through the 8 on the right hand side. So if I pop that down, you can see you've got your first WibeDuo with the demi rounds and the 8s that have done a little waltz all the way around it, and you are ready to continue. So my thread is exiting through the top of my 8 O, and I'm going to be adding in, if I pop this here, my next WibeDuo, but I'm going to be adding in 3 of the 6 that go around the side. So I'm going to be adding in the 3 that fill in this little concave curve here before I come through the top hole. So this is where it starts getting very repetitive, and we're going to be doing the same thing over and over again. So before I slide through the WibeDuo, I'm picking up 3 of my demi rounds, and I'm going to come through, just make sure I'm coming through the right way, keeping that domed surface on the top, through the WibeDuo. Slide that all the way down to the other one. And just with your fingers, push the beads up against each other so that there are no big gaps. Now we're going to do that first step again round the top of the WibeDuo. So we're going to pick up 4 demi rounds and come back through the top hole. Now you can see there's a bit of a gap that's happened there, so all I'm going to do is with my fingers and my nails is I'm just going to slide those beads up so that they're sitting as snugly as they can against the previous ones. Second step, we're coming round the side. We need to pick up 6 demi rounds, 4, 5, 6, and come round the side and through the lower hole. Get them into position for you so you can see. We're now going to do the third step, which is coming around the base of the WibeDuo. So we're only going to be picking up 4 demi rounds and coming back through that lower hole. And now I just need another 3 because I added those first 3 before we came through the second WibeDuo. I just need 3 to complete the side. 2, 3, and I'm going to come back up through that 8 from the opposite direction, and that will pull it all into place. So there I've got my second one, but I've got 3 more points, the top, the right and the bottom edge, where I need to add in my silver 8/0s. So I'm going to come through these 3 and the top hole of the WibeDuo so that I'm ready to start my little dance again around the top. So I need to pass my needle through 2 of the top 4 demi rounds so that I'm in the center, pick up a silver 8 and come down through 2 on the other side. So my top silver point is in place. I'm going to come back through, pass the needle back through that top hole. Sorry, I just realized there that I'd moved out of shot. Through the top hole of my WibeDuo, and again, as you pull in, don't get tangled around your first WibeDuo like I did, but as you pull in with your tension, you're pulling all those beads into place. Right, now we need to add our silver point on this edge, so halfway through the 6 demi rounds we're going to pass the needle through 3 of them. Pick up 1 silver 8, pass the needle through 3 down the other side, and then back through that lower hole. Thread just got looped around there. And we've just got the silver point to add in at the base here. So I'm just turning it so that it's easier to bead through 2 of those bottom demi rounds. Pick up a silver 8, and because we're going to continue beading off to the right, I'm now going to pass my needle up through all 5 of those demi rounds and the size 8 silver bead. So you have two components of your Waltzing with WibeDuos bracelet complete. So I'm going to do another section with you, but it is very repetitive now, so you'll be able to pause or rewind and go back. So before we pick up the next WibeDuo, we're going to pick up 3, which is half of the one side of the left-hand side here. Then we're going to pick up our next WibeDuo, and this sometimes takes a little bit of practice because, as I said, you can only pass the needle through in one direction. So I can pass it through in that direction, but it won't go through the holes that way. So you just need to find the correct way to pick them up, ensuring that the domed side is at the top. And holding them in place, we're going to now do our first step of our waltz around the top with 4 demi rounds and back through that top hole. And remember, if things have slid a little, just use your fingers to pull them back up as snugly as you can against the previous section. So we're doing the second step of the waltz with 6 demi rounds around the side. 5, 6. The third step of the waltz is 4 around the base. 2, 3, 4, and back through that lower hole. And then we just need to complete this side. We've got the 3 there from when we started with this WibeDuo. We pick up 3 more and we come back through the 8 from the opposite direction. And we've got our next section there. We've still got to fill in the 8s at the corners. So I'm going to pass through those 3 and the top hole of my WibeDuo. Ready to start the dance again. Through 2 at the top, 2 demi rounds at the top so that you're in the center of your 4. Pick up 1 8 and come down through the 2 demi rounds on the other side. Pass your needle back through that top hole. And we're ready to pop in the silver point on the side here. In step 2 of our waltz, we're going to come through 3 of our demi rounds. Pick up 1 8-0 and pass the needle through 3 demi rounds on the lower side and that lower hole of the WibeDuo at the same time if you can. If you need to do it in 2 steps, that's absolutely fine. We've got 1 more point to add in at the base here, the final step in our waltz, through 2 of our demi rounds, because as on the top where we had 4, we've only got 4 demi rounds on the base. Pick up 1 8. And to continue on beading, it's almost like a step up to the outside, to the outer edge where you can continue. We're going to go through the 5 demi rounds and the 8 on the side. And there are 3 of my components complete. And I'm ready to add the next one. And remember, you're going to pick up 3 demi rounds first. And then your WibeDuo. I want to come through from this side to ensure that the dome part stays on the top. And you're ready to start your waltz again. So you can see how repetitive that is the whole way along to the desired length of your bracelet. I've used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And together with my clasp, my bracelet is 7 inches long. So that's not bad going. You haven't used many beads and you've got a beautiful bracelet there. Adding on the clasp, all I did was I exited the 8 on either side. So there's the 8 on that side and there would be an 8 on the other end. And using my demi rounds, I just picked up, in fact I used 5 up to one end of my clasp, and I came back through 2 of the demi rounds, added 3 round the other side and went back through that silver 8 and ended off my thread securely. So exactly the same on the other side there. Through the 8, pick up your 5 demi rounds through an end of your clasp and back through 2 of the demi rounds and 3 on the other side and end off your thread securely. So I hope you've enjoyed this new demo, Waltzing with WibeDuos. If you have any questions, pop them in the comments below and I will answer them as quickly as possible. If you like what we're doing, please remember to hit the subscribe button. I don't like that word subscribe because it seems to intimate that money is involved. It should be follow rather than subscribe. There is no money involved to subscribe, but it does mean that you'll be notified the minute I upload a new demo for you. Thanks for watching. Bye.